Okay, so you want to take your Filipino partner abroad or back home, move home, whatever. What I always say is the problems I've seen people face are first one is negative influences from other Filipinos. There's a lot of Filipinos that love to disrupt things. The crab mentality exists in the Philippines, but it's worse when you get overseas. You'll get other Filipinos that will tell your partner how they can profiteer and what they're entitled to in a divorce, etc., etc. And if you've got a young partner, they're often influenced by these people that are normally older. They're the 40 plus crowd that had a failed marriage and assume everyone else should have a failed marriage. I avoid them, and I know most of my friends, their wives are aware of exactly what these manipulative, horrible women are doing. Because it's nothing to do about your happiness or your partner's happiness. They just want to disrupt your marriage. The reason they do that is it makes it feel better for them that they had a failed marriage, and if they destroy somebody else's, everyone's the same. Great, isn't it? The other one is the issues relating to family. Family assume you're a millionaire when you go abroad. You've got so much money because you earn such a big amount. They have no connection with the cost of living to the fact it's relative to what you're earning. So they can't see that, say, $1,000 a month or £1,000 a month is pretty much break even, if not struggling in most countries these days. As such, they assume you could send them $500 a month, and you really should, to support your family because you can afford it, or your wife should. And I know some of the guys that have allowed their wives to work every hour to fund family back home, and personally I would dissuade it. I would actually look to how you can change the way your wife is, but also change the family and the way they abuse things, because it's not being spent on the right things. Let's face it. It gets spent on drink, it gets spent on partying, it gets spent on fireworks, it gets spent on stupid things that people don't need, and when it comes around to a family emergency, they call for even more money. So with that in mind, I strongly suggest that you look at how you can stop this abuse, because they're abusing you and they're abusing your partner. At the same time, if you stop your partner doing it without having these discussions, you've now got a rift between you and your partner, because her family will be saying how much of a bad husband you are by not letting her help her family. So you've got to find that little bit of a balance in there. Not easy. I don't have this problem, which is why I'll just say that's the bit you need to have a look at. Because I've got very good in-laws, I don't have these problems, but I know many people that do, and their wives are working all the hours, which puts a strain on the marriage because they're never there. But also all the money just disappears overseas and nothing's ever produced for it. It's never ending because the whole family just see it as money for them and couldn't care less where it comes from. So you got those problems. The next thing is abusive husbands. Expats, or guys that just get married and move their partner abroad, are some of the worst people on the planet. There's no dispute about it. Filipinos, Filipinas have, if not the highest, are very close to the highest percentage of women, or number of women that are produced, which are abused from a minority group. So this is why they're a bit fussy about women going overseas, because there's a lot of idiots out there that beat their wives, etc., etc. And it's not just to the West, because obviously a lot of women are marrying for guys with China, Japan, etc. But the whole thing is there is a lot of bad guys out there. That's another reason for people being a bit wary about going overseas, because you may be fantastic in the Philippines, but they may be worried about going overseas because they've heard the horror stories of some of the things that have happened to other people. So you need to reassure your partner that this isn't going to happen. Put some safeguards in there so that they can say, look, you've got your own money in the bank account. It's nothing to do with me. If you wanted to go home, you can take your passport and get on a plane. That money's yours. Your passport's yours. I can't do anything about that. So there's an exit for you. You know, that's what I would do. I mean, I don't have those problems anyway. My wife's got access to my whole every bit of financing I have. So I don't have these issues that other people do. Culturally, there is issues with some people as well. Filipinos generally like to be in Filipino groups. So when they go overseas, they get homesick. They're used to being in a house where even 6 people share the same bed and things like that. So when they're in a community that has no other Filipinos, they become disconnected. So you have to work on how you're going to get around those problems. My wife is heavily westernized anyway, so she's quite happy if she doesn't see Filipinos for the next 10 years. It doesn't bother her because she's got all the technologies to talk to her family. At the same time, where we live, we've got people from Poland, Ukraine, Dominican Republic, Spain, Netherlands, all sorts. So, but she's embracing the change. Some people don't. Some people want fried fish every day. Some people want dried fish every day. Some people want rice every day. They refuse to adapt to a Western culture. That's why before you move, a little hint is introduce Western food early. Get the people familiar to the taste. Get the in-laws interested in it. Because if you change people's taste buds, they change their diet. If you don't, what happens is the isolation of being lonely because they're out of their own community, multiplied by the fact that they can't get the food they want, because often a lot of people cannot cook the food they want because it's often another member of family does the cooking, so they wouldn't know how to do dried fish if it wasn't available. They wouldn't know how to create sigsig, for example, which is a pork dish from ears and pig's faces, which is really tasty. It doesn't sound it, but I love it. It's spicy stuff. But they wouldn't know how to cook it. So maybe that's something you could actually introduce, because those pig's faces and pig's ears are available. Rice is available, but they need to be able to understand how to cook it. So maybe get them involved in a culinary course before they even go overseas, so they can fill that gap. Doing a culinary course also means that they've got the ability to move their hobby list from 0, which is often the case, is Facebook and chatting with friends on the phone, to cooking, reading, learning a new language, whatever it is. But the cooking one's quite good because it means that the loneliness is gone, because they have people in their cookery class. They also have the ability to cook their own food, so even if they want Filipino food, they can create it. So that's a key one there. Another problem is jealous husbands. Being a jealous husband does not help your relationship in any way. If you're excessively jealous, what happens is you're creating a gap all the time. I remember a guy that was getting this with his wife. He wasn't having an affair. He had no plans on having an affair, but he was constantly accused of having one. So in the end, he had an affair. But he was happily married. He just was kept being poked and blamed for things he hadn't done. I won't talk too much about that. But the fact is, the guy is with his partner still now, which is why I won't talk about it too much. But the fact is, the whole issue was caused by jealousy. Because the guy loves his wife. It was just a case of, just kept pushing him to the point that he just thought, forget it, I don't care now. You know, at the end of the day, there's nothing I can't do. I can't do right, whatever I do. You know, making himself available at all hours, blah blah blah. She still wasn't happy, and at the same time, the more you give in that way, the less freedom somebody has. the more likely they are to be unhappy, at which point there's more risk of them leaving anyway. So these are the things you're going to come across. Now, what I would advise is, my wife is happy. I'm not going to admit I'm in another country a lot of the time because of the type of work I do. Do I think my wife would ever have an affair? The answer is no. Do I trust my wife? 110%. Do I make sure she's happy every day? Of course I do. I engage with my wife. I ask her if she's okay. I ask her if she's got enough vitamins, how's her health, if she had enough sleep because she's got the kids, etc. And I try to make sure she has everything that's available. Even the supermarket, we've got it on home delivery because, like with the 2 young kids, it can be difficult to get out. We look for solutions, and that's the big driving force in whatever I'm doing. I don't look for a problem. There's enough problems out there. I look for a solution for every problem I have. Communication is key to all of this. And the last one you will come across is bad women. Bad women happen everywhere. It's not Filipinos, it is just there is bad women. I would say the external influences where I was saying like earlier about these older women that manipulate people are some of the worst women you'll ever meet, but at the same time, some of the women that would change and go that way have had too much influence with these women in the first place. That's why a relationship should be a solid relationship in the first place. If it's not, you probably got less than a 50-50 chance of your marriage lasting more than 5 years. So yeah, I've got to come going out, but I would say just be aware of these things. There will be some people that aren't 100%, and that's why you don't want to get married in the first place until you make sure you've met the right person. She understands you in the same way that you feel about her. All right, thanks for watching. Yeah.